Okay, everyone, it's Mr. Allen. This is introducing the for loop. So I'm not going to go through this. This is your tutorial assignment. I'm just going to note that when you set this up, be sure to put a list box and a button on your form and rename the list box LST display. Okay, that will allow you to then use my code and basically copy it as written in order to have it run. What I'm going to do instead is just kind of explain the for loop just kind of in a more general sense, and you'll sort of see the same thing when you get into doing the program yourself. So this program is going to be a little different than the one you're going to do, although you can you'll be able to see some similarities for sure. I've got a for loop written here from 1 to 1,000, next I, and I'm going to just go ahead and run this. And hi mum 1, hi mum 2, hi mum 3, all the way down to, not terribly surprisingly, hi mum 1000. Okay, so basically, remembering that this green code right now is being ignored by the computer, my program simply says, starting for values of I 1 to 1,000, run this loop. Okay, so essentially the loop is going to run 1,000 times. In doing so, though, we assign the values 1, 2, 3 to this variable I. And then we can use that variable however we want. We could add those numbers, we can print those numbers, we can use those numbers in some other way as well, in any way that you could use a regular variable. A couple of things to note. If I make a change inside my loop to the variable I, it will cause me issues moving forward. And right now you see that my program is not really showing anything. It's actually not responding to my clicks. When I try to close it, it doesn't work. Coming over here, I can stop the program. And if we just kind of think about what this does, I'm going to use the breakpoint here and see if I can figure out a little bit of what's going on. I'm going to run my program, and my program has an I value of 1. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to press F11 to allow the computer to move forward. And so what it has tried to do, either successfully or unsuccessfully, is print hi mum 1 on the screen. It's then changing the value of I to be 100, and then moving on to the next value of I. The next value of I is 101, so the value after 100, that's what next tells me to do. It tries to print the value 101 on the screen, and then it changes changes I back from 101 to 100. And you can sort of tell that it's just going to keep doing the same thing, going 101, then to 100, 101, back to 100, over and over and over. Let's see if it'll let me do this. And of course, that's what we call an endless loop, because the program will continue to do the same thing over and over and will never actually end. Hitting continue here, let's see if it actually allows me to, I'm going to take the breakpoint out, sorry. Hit continue here, and you can see the program is continuing on and on and on and on to print the 101, but it's still going, it's still going, it's still going, and will continue to go on forever, again, endlessly. So this application do events, just kind of as a note, it allowed the computer to refresh the screen so that I could see kind of what was happening when I was stuck in this endless loop. But this was the problem here. By telling the computer to reset to 100 all the time, we're stopping it from ever reaching the 1000 end mark. So I would suggest, unless you can explain to me really, really well why you are trying to do this, you should never ever change the value of I inside your for loop, or the value of index if you're using index, or anything else. This is just the name of variable I chose. I is kind of a standard, index is kind of a standard, but again, as long as you don't change it inside the loop, the computer will be allowed to go from 1 to 1,000 and then we'll stop. Last little thing then, if I want to go up by something other than the standard 1, I can put a step value on, and I think you can see we're going step from 1 to 7 to 13. We're going up by 6s each time. We also have the ability to go the opposite direction, starting at 100 and going down to negative 10, or going down to 10, or down to negative 10, I suppose I could even do. As long as I'm stepping by a negative value, then 100 down to 95, down to 90, and so on, all the way down to, not surprisingly, negative 10. Okay, so those are the basics of the for loop. You will use that in solving problems in the next coming few days. Go through the tutorial, make sure you're comfortable with the things you saw here. It'll take you through the more or less the same steps, but this is a summary of what you should have seen.